This is the Gumad Angel Orsini, and you're watching BJ and DG Talk Wrestling on YouTube and Twitch. Forget about it.
Welcome back, everybody. I am so tired. BJ here, DG there.
How is it going, everybody? And we have successfully made it through another week of Monday Night Raw.
Barely.
Yeah, it was a lot going on. I had to
I'm glad
watch at least the first hour on my phone easily.
I had a cup of coffee after work. That's all I'm saying.
That's about right. So, cheers, everybody. I will sanction this show and ring the bell.
All right.
Let's get it on.
Whew.
So, I guess the question to ask is,
what do you guys want to talk about?
What did Stephanie McMahon want to talk about?
oh, so just real quick. I'm out, I'm, excuse me, doing stuff. And I was at the Pro Wrestling Star Academy. And so I didn't realize she was coming out right away because I had my phone turned down so I couldn't hear the music. Just on like the guardrails on the barrier, I saw McMahon. And my first reaction was, did Vince come back? And then I saw Stephanie coming out. I'm like, okay.
Every once in a while, you start hearing those rumors.
You know,
Never
especially
happened. Never happened in a
with,
million years.
well, we are glad to have you as long as we do. And the beautiful thing is, once you charge your phone or something, you know, you can always go back and still catch up where you left off. Gotta love technology sometimes.
Just a live chat won't work at that point. And if we're still on and it does, it'll be stuff we talked about a while ago.
And we'll probably still respond to the comment.
Yeah. Yeah, most likely. Yeah, so Stephanie comes out of concern for Cody and pretty much tells him that you're not the man your father was. Um, Orton's gone nuts, and you need to be on his level and be able to think like him. Um, and your father was able to flip that switch when it called for it, but she's not confident that Cody was able to. And she pretty much said, "You're not going to beat him if you are this Cody Rhodes."
Yeah. And I think I mentioned something like on yesterday's show, about how I could see a heel turn coming.
Hmm.
Because you kind of see one of many shifts happening in WWE, which is really weird this time of year to get the
Yeah.
mass shifts, which is going to lead us into another conversation about what our opening match was and my direct action to that walking through downtown Mount Holly on my way home.
Let's
But
see.
I thought it was a very interesting way for them to push this story some without Randy being on Raw this week.
Right.
Because, as we all know, especially when we consider what was top tier Randy Orton, was the beginning of the voices in his head run, where he was just punt kicking everybody.
Yeah.
So I really enjoyed having that idea. Because when she came out and I started hearing what she was saying, it took me back to some of those moments like, yeah, he did punt kick Vince. He had feuds with her husband. If anybody know, would know what he's capable of, who didn't have a match with him or something like that. Even though I think there was, didn't he punt kick her once too?
I believe so, yeah. He had
So,
mentioned Cody made reference to that.
so you know, there's plenty of history there for them to play off of. And it's starting to lean more credence to where I'm kind of leaning toward what you speculated, that there's nobody on the phone and it is the voices. Because I would really like that, but at the same time, I would love for it, even more for it to be somebody like KO. Because it does seem like they're linking the Cody story back to everything he's done since returning. That after Seth going chasing after Roman, them dethroning the bloodline just for him to go and help them, does show that it has rubbed people the wrong way who were even on his side at the time. Randy being one of them.
Right. I I don't know. This could be a situation where you're putting too much into it. Like, I think it's a little more simple. You know what I mean?
I mean, in my personal case, it might be, but I'm finding the things that still connect a little bit. Those
Yeah,
connective threads that are for the fans like us.
right. Yeah, the people who notice stuff like
You know, that's when they're sitting back and they're like, what can we give the marks? You know, how do we not just pop the average fan, but pop them too? Stephanie coming out was definitely one way to do it.
that. Oh yeah. Um, yeah, interesting segment. I'm usually like when I see Cody come out, I'm like, oh, here we go. You know. But this I was actually very impressed with the way things went down. And then, what we didn't say to sum it all up. Stephanie slaps Cody after he insults her, and
Two slaps, as a matter of fact, right?
I think it was just one.
Was it just one?
I don't know, I could be wrong. Um, Cody says, "You're not your father," and it's like, there's context there, but I'm not going to go through all that.
But
Stephanie,
he goes through the whole father thing, which causes the slap.
right. Stephanie slaps Cody. She walks off, and he grabs her arm before she leaves the ring and pulls her in close. And he says, "I got two words for you." And of course, the crowd popping, crowd going nuts. Uh, Thank you.
Why don't we have that as a soundbite?
Got two words for you. Well, we got to update our sound bites at some point when we have time.
Acknowledge me.
No, we're not there
That's
yet.
2 words. Yeah. Well, that's the only one I could find that had 2 words in it.
I mean, if it were Roman, it would be a different situation. Yeah,
But
yeah, I enjoy the segment. Like I said, I usually don't enjoy Cody segments, but it's definitely like just seeing her so infrequently just makes it that much more special when you do see her.
I mean, for me, the only disappointing thing was I knew he was going to say thank you. And I just thought it was a really weak way to end it for him. He's the champ. And it just feels like after all that, like, all right, it might have been stuff he needed to hear, but after the slap, maybe the little bit of that frustration and anger should have been shown. Just with the idea, like, look at what's happened across the landscape. He doesn't have nobody backing him up no more. Everybody that backed him up is basically said, dude, we tried to help you, and what did you do?
Right.
Because, in all honesty, does Cody complete the story without the help? Does he finish the story? No. Roman wins back-to-back WrestleManias against him.
In a
And we
perfect
could,
world, that's what would have happened.
but yeah, and then we get, moving on in the show, we get a nice backstage segment with I Show Speed looking for Danhausen. Like, come on, man. I don't blame him. I wouldn't want to be cursed neither.
Yeah, he
Which,
tries
by
to get himself out of the curse, and that doesn't go over well. Danhausen has too many crazy demands.
Dan, Yeah, he said, well, Danhausen appears. He says he'll do it for $10 billion, the rights to his streaming, and a personal assistant.
I think
His
that personal
demand
character.
housings. Which, just real quick, photos that Danhausen posted going through like Times Square in New York City today in full gimmick, absolutely amazing. I mean, personally, I think everybody should slap Cody. Like, let's just really
Yeah.
piss him off so we get that next level match at Mania.
It should be like Airplane. Get a hold of yourself. There, I got it. Get a hold of yourself.
But I had another thought, real to backtrack real quick, of somebody else who could have been on the phone with Randy. What if it was Stephanie? There,
Okay.
there's the passing line at the end of the first segment where they did the interview via satellite, and what's he say at the end of that? There's more than one royal family, and we're going to talk about royal families of wrestling. I think the McMahons kind of do fit that in the term of what they did to bring wrestling
Oh
to a
yeah.
mainstream.
Yeah, absolutely.
Well, Archives, you will not be cursed just for that comment. But yeah, that was not the first time we see Danhausen tonight. We do see him later on in the show where they announced that Saturday night's main event, I think they said July, will be at MSG.
Yeah, I think he said July. I don't remember
Cool.
the date, but
Yeah, awesome announcement for them to use Danhausen. You know how much I understand that people want to see Danhausen in the ring. He doesn't need to. He really doesn't need to be in the ring doing something. Even though I do want to see him wrestle, but I feel like if he's going to get regular matches, there'll be main event to try to bring people to watch main event a little bit more. Because I think that's just on YouTube now. And they're doing a real, it seems like a push towards there. With now NXT this Saturday being, for Stand and Deliver being on there. We can watch AAA there every week. They have consistent live streams going on YouTube. It makes sense to make that push for stuff that they want on the pushed on those social medias there. Better than some Twitter speed match.
yeah, I don't know. I'm just so uninterested in in both Danhausen in the ring and Danhausen just being anywhere on my TV. Um, at first I was like, oh yeah, it's funny, but it wasn't funny. It was just like, okay, it's not annoying yet, but now it's annoying. Like he's just their little puppet to put up in front of the kids and make money. Like I don't know. I don't like it.
Every generation of wrestling has had it.
Yeah. Yeah, but I mean being my age now, I mean that's not something I enjoy.
Well, is it possible that Danny actually is Danhausen and nobody knows it?
Could it be?
But like I do like having the entertainment aspect mixed with my wrestling because it does bring me, like, we get that super serious segment and then you could just turn just as quick with somebody like R-Truth and get me going from, oh shit, that was crazy too, oh that's great, that's entertaining,
I
and
don't
you
mind. Yeah, like I don't mind. I don't know. I don't mind a comedy segment, but like
and
I don't know.
I prefer it the way they're doing than doing it mid ring, like doing it mid match in the ring, to
Just the
where it
comedy
doesn't
segment.
lead to not.
Not many are very funny. You know what I mean?
And we're not talking about like in the Orange Cassidy sense, to where it is just his gimmick, which in Danhausen it's his gimmick too, but they work kind of different.
Yeah.
Orange Cassidy's more nonchalant in the way he does things too. He doesn't have to be, and it's a mind game thing. With Danhausen, it's just B-rated horror movie comedy type stuff.
Yeah, but
And
could he do it a little
me,
less obnoxious, please?
no.
Like I'm all about like, B horror movies and stuff, but like just not a fan.
You know, not everybody's going to be a fan of everything. The IWC has proved that a company can put on a banger from beginning to end, and they'll still hate it. Hell, we talk about AEW pay-per-views and say there's too much wrestling just because the matches go forever. We love our pro wrestling and all, but can we cut like an hour off the whole entire show?
Yeah, like what a lot of indies and WWE realized that like especially live, being at a wrestling show is like an endurance trial. Like you get worn out. You don't have the same energy,
An
throughout the
independent,
show.
a wrestling show should be no more than 3 hours from beginning to end. And that's with
Uh,
tape having. That's what sitting down for. Have I would say maybe for WWE AEW 4 hours because you're going to tape other stuff along the way for other TV. But otherwise, if we're especially talking about an independent show, no more than 3 hours. And even then, that's too much. To where 2.5 hours, 2 to 2.5, is that perfect spot there. Because once you start getting close to that third hour, which we did a couple weeks ago, you're like, I'm really enjoying this, but I'm starting to drag ass here.
yeah, especially because a lot of those shows that I go to, I had short sleep the night before and then worked, 8 hours and then had an hour in between, and now I'm at the yeah, so it's
Yes.
so I appreciate the Friday nights that those are shorter shows, but like at the same time, like I think it's situation to situation. I think it's unfair to say all wrestling shows should be this length.
No, no,
Like
no,
it's
no. But it's a five spot when you think about fans, especially considering if you were not that I want to talk a lot of AEW while we're talking Monday Night Raw, but as per this conversation, the example of again going to an AEW pay per view. That show starts at 7 for the pre-show. You get towards the end of that, you're going to get 2 or 3 matches. One of those matches now runs into the start of the pay-per-view to get people to buy, which great marketing strategy because you get somebody who needs to see the end of a match, they're going to buy the show and watch it. But then the
yeah,
show starts at 8 and we're talking about the show ending
ending after
at
midnight.
12:30, 1 o'clock in the morning
Yeah,
when people have work the next day. Yeah.
right. Kids
Like
have
that
school.
that's a
Not
bit
the kids are
of
up watching AEW, but well, maybe some are.
that's what I'm saying. Like, or they're falling asleep watching it.
Yeah. Well, that was me last AEW show. Second to last match, and I just couldn't. Even though it was like the shortest match on the card, it was 12 minutes. I couldn't hang.
But yeah, it just comes, it's a sweet spot, because WWE, I want to say they do main event tapings across both shows and not just one, which
Right.
is smart. Hey, we can record 1 or 2 matches on this show, 1 or 2 matches on the other show, and the shows together for the next week. Because not a lot of people pay attention to the people at ringside.
Yeah. Unless they're like very distinct looking.
Or it's something like I started noticing it maybe when I was like 15, 16 years old. I'd watch something where they taped it like 2 weeks prior, so there was a delay in it being broadcast. And all of a sudden I'm like, hey, didn't I see that sign already like 2 weeks ago? And I,
Right.
and I just start because it's signs that stick out to me.
Mm.
But yeah, let's get off this and move on. Oh God, we're going to have this conversation again. It's going to be miserable. We're both going to hate it, but we have to talk about it. The Usos defending the tag team titles against Divisions, Logan Paul, and Austin Theory. LA Knight on commentary. For some reason, IShowSpeed comes out. And somehow, in the end, he's the reason.
He had a front row seat. The segment before Adam Pierce said he set him up with a front row seat.
Next to Logan Paul's mom, who gives him the brass knuck. Like, all right, cool. I don't mind all that. But IShowSpeed then being pulled over This is just him being cursed still, but now him
Maybe.
being cursed has resulted in the Usos losing the tag team championships.
I don't think it directly did. Like, it was an anything goes match. You know what I mean? It was a street fight. So, like, w whether it would have been the Nux or whatever else that was around, I think it would still been the same outcome.
I don't, because once LA Knight gets involved, you know, that kind of, he went to go stop the Nux from being used. And it was basically him knocking out LA Knight and then the Nux making their way back into play, which causes Jay to go from jumping off the top rope and winning the match to taking out Logan Paul at ringside with the
Yeah,
Nux.
yeah.
And Austin Theory just happening to be able to fall on Jimmy to get the pinfall. I definitely think this gets ran back probably at WrestleMania.
Yeah, that seems likely.
But even then, I'm like, why so many title changes? Like, just since the Royal Rumble alone. Not count, because I want to say the Usos won the tag titles before the new year. Because they went into the Rumble as tag team champions, right?
Hmm.
Or they just won them the beginning of the year.
If
It's
if this is the plan to have a Logan Paul Austin Theory and Usos match for the tag team titles, then was there really a need to have them change hands right now? If that is the plan, we don't know
it,
what the plan is, but they only have two more shows,
and,
to make it.
and on top of that, putting into perspective as well, if that would be the plan for them to do a rematch at WrestleMania, why not have them win it in a normal rules match and then we go into like a Vegas street fight instead? Because or or you do something to where it might have made sense in a way for the tag team titles to be in a ladder match, to be in anything else. And I get Madison Square Garden street fight, 100% makes sense.
Yeah,
You know, because
sure.
typically like New York City, we get that.
But then,
We
yeah, like, I don't know, it just seems weird. But, they have a plan apparently. It all makes sense, right? It always
not
does.
none not this time. I feel like this time around, all the dirt sheets and all that stuff of people saying, hey, WrestleMania is not really booked at all. It's shown. We're hot.
Yeah.
They're hot shotting every title damn near besides the top titles.
Pretty much. And
And
even
and
even the top title, like one of the top titles with Drew.
yeah, oh yeah. So even the WWE title has. It's kind of like now in our conversations we're like, all right, I guess the direction they had to go that makes sense because you lost between a Rey Mysterio injury and half the Vision being injured. You lost some tread there with matches.
Yeah. And on that note, archives. Yeah. Yeah, agreed. I'm not
Like,
against it, but why now? You know.
why just with so many other title changes? Like, they would have gotten so much heat beating the Usos at WrestleMania.
Oh yeah. And this wasn't the plan all along. Like this is only happening because Braun and Braun are hurt. Because like there's no way that I don't know. I think this is them scrambling around because of injuries and just like changing things. It doesn't seem like it would have been the plan the whole time,
Well,
you know?
something we'll talk about later. We now have something. We had Seth Rollins cleared, which we'll talk about soon. So, you know, there was hope there that a little bit of hope from me we would still get him and Braun Breaker. But I'm not against the route they're going at the least. It's just that they kind of should have shifted gears sooner and not try to hold out as long.
Well, they had to wait until he was cleared.
Well, not even that, you could still plant the seeds for it. And I get Rey Mysterio's injured. Both Brauns are injured. There's a lot to discern there and change gears. But when if you barely have your card already booked for the biggest show of the year and you don't know the direction you're going, that means nobody in their creative department can agree on a single thing outside of the top couple matches.
Yeah, I mean that is definitely what it seems like. I mean that's probably what led to Road Dogg quitting recently. I could be wrong about that. So yeah,
It's it's just I have no like we've talked a lot the last couple weeks. I have no problem with title changes. But why are they happening so frequently? Because what now in the past 2 weeks we've had both tag titles change hands.
right.
Like
Um,
what? It's so confusing because especially with Friday, I was very invested in seeing Carmelo Hayes be the United States champion at WrestleMania, and you took that away from me. Now it's Sami Zayn, and I feel like Sami Zayn's going to hold the belt for 3 weeks so that Trick gets it.
yeah,
To where I get it, there wouldn't have been much build on the main roster for a Trick Mello match, but God, you have a year or two worth of match footage to go back from NXT and be like, hey guys, this is the history of what these two did in NXT together and then against each other. And you could tell that story and the fans would be like, oh, okay, yeah, give us that.
so Liv Morgan comes out, calls out Stephanie Vaquer, calls her mom trash in Espanol. Uh,
Which leads to them just her Steph coming out and them just fighting and the return of one Roxanne Perez.
yeah, gotta love it. Um, this segment was just there. You know what I mean? Like nothing out of the ordinary. It was good to see Roxanne back, but otherwise the segment was just there.
Well, it did push the narrative that this feud is a bit more personal for Stephanie.
Yeah. Oh yeah, absolutely.
You have a good night, Archives. We'll still be here for a little bit. If not, please check out the rest of the show when you get a chance. It was what it was meant to be
Yeah.
because in this case Steph doesn't really have any help as compared to Liv. She still has the Judgment Day. And a Roxanne return really helps in that situation. Because if things are going the way we see them going, Raquel's not going to be part of that group much longer neither. Because I can see Liv winning the title. Steph gets her rematch. And then you somehow insert Raquel into the situation and phase out Valkyrie into another feud. Even if it's a triple threat at some point.
Yeah. Who would be next for Vaquer though?
We would have to see. I mean, after Valkyrie, after her would be Raquel Rodriguez. If
No,
that
no.
were,
I see. Okay, yeah, yeah.
that's what I'm saying. Like, that, like she would eventually become number one contender, either as a member of the Judgment Day, which now that creates friction. Like, hey, you're supposed to be helping me, and now you somehow became number one contender.
Right.
But that oblivion on that chair, though, man,
Oh
that was
yeah.
pretty. Yeah, that was pretty brutal. After that, we get a backstage segment with the Vision and I Show Speed.
Yeah, and the Vision are pretty much telling him like you're a wanted man now. Like they're gonna want to kill you after what you just did. So you got to stick with us. And he was like, I didn't mean to. And it was just like, well, that's not gonna matter. They're still gonna want to kill you.
Mm. So, just real quick, I meant to ask this when we were talking about it. The Usos dropping the tag titles.
hmm
Do you think this is going to lead toward them going back with Roman?
Oh, I thought you were gonna say turning heel alone. Um, I hope not. Like it probably will. Um, there still isn't a clear like heel face in the whole Punk Roman thing. You
No,
know?
they're just two top stars going at it.
Yeah. But my argument is Roman hasn't been face since the whole Bloodline thing.
I
Uh,
would even go. We've talked about this. I can't even put him as a face or a heel because he's stayed the course of the character. He never really apologized. He did what he had to do to get back to the top.
and he's
He
shown that
stayed.
he
We
only
never.
cares about himself, but at the same time, he like has played the face role in matches, but he was never like doing. He was still him.
Yeah, like he's doing what he wants to do, and and I mean rightfully so, what he should be doing.
Oh yeah. I mean, I'm over it, but I love seeing him in the ring. Just the whole character, I'm over.
But I think after next year, we will probably be on the retirement tour for him.
Yeah.
I wouldn't even mind that if it started after this WrestleMania. His last match is also The Rock's last match, and they do him and Rock in Saudi. Because
No,
if
I mean,
anybody's going to be able to pull The Rock out of retirement, we should have gotten it 2 years ago.
right,
In all,
right, and
in all honesty, and they let Cody win the Rumble, and then they're like, "Oh yeah, he's going to give up his spot to The Rock." Like, what? That's stupid.
yeah. Um, yeah. Where were we?
All right, moving on. WWE Women's Tag Team Championship. Bailey and Lyra versus the Irresistible Forces. Now, most of this match I honestly missed. Not on purpose or anything. I had just gotten home when they were making their entrance, and Netflix just didn't want to cooperate with me fully to get back to live. So, by the time it catches back up to me, everybody's clearing them out of the ring.
Oh, so you missed the actual match part.
Yeah, pretty much. I saw a couple moves in the very beginning of the match, and after that, so I kind of gotta go back and watch that at some point.
Ooh. Yeah, I was in and out of the room. I didn't really see the whole match. Yeah,
But from what I caught, they're obviously building to a fatal four way, like we have been talking about the last couple weeks for the tag team
right.
championships. The build is there. It'll probably get announced this week on SmackDown. Honestly,
Yeah. Um, Yeah, at one point, I believe it was the Bellas came out first, and then right behind them, like maybe 5 seconds behind them, were Charlotte and Alexa, and everyone just bickering back and forth until the competitors from the match get involved with the people who just came down to ringside, and all hell breaks loose. Um, Lash really put a hurting on I forget who it was. Yeah, I'm blanking. But yeah, it did a good job to set up the what we figure is going to be the women's tag team title match.
Yeah, and I'm fine with it. It'll just nice to actually see the titles hopefully be defended on WrestleMania.
Now, my only fear is that it's because okay, so it's not going to be a ladder match because of the announcement later in the
Normal fatal four way. You don't need to do nothing special with it.
not one of those two people in the ring and you can tag anyone kind of things.
Unfortunately, that's what WWE does. Because
Oh,
if you add,
make it a tornado, please.
no, in my opinion, a fatal four way tag team match should have one person from
Should not
each team in
exist.
it.
In my opinion, they should not exist.
No, they shouldn't be. They can exist. I just feel like they're done wrong, in my opinion, because when you only have two people in the ring, it's not a fatal four way. It's a one on one match with their partners and two other full teams standing there hoping to get an opportunity to tag in.
Oh, so you're saying like one on
The-
one on one on one in the ring and you can only tag your partner?
yes.
Oh, I wouldn't hate that.
No, that honors the rules of a fatal four way and tag team format.
Yeah, I just hate it when they do like I said, the two people in the ring and you can tag anyone.
So do I, but I get it. I just get it. I get the certain logistics of things. Because that would be a pain in the ass match to produce where you'll miss stuff on camera. Or have to be constantly replaying things that happen. Which is why fatal four way tag team matches shouldn't be done all the time and they should be limited to a triple threat.
But they
Because
don't have that problem with like, tornado four-way tags when they spill outside.
But there is a lot that happens with a lot of jumping of the camera. And as a fan, I've seen a lot of those matches live in bigger venues like that, and you do miss stuff.
Yeah,
It's hard.
yeah. I mean,
Yeah,
with
it's
that
hard
much
to
going
pay.
on, yeah, you're going to.
Yeah, it's just hard. It's hard to follow all that action. So we get through that. And then Danhausen, they come back from commercial. Danhausen's already out there announcing Saturday night's main event, which is July 18th. Oh wow! Apparently that. All right. It was a recap of him saying that of the announcement. So they recapped what happened during commercial break. Okay, you just couldn't do it on TV live. Okay, whatever. But now a segment I'm more than happy to talk about. So I'm happy to talk about anything
Yeah.
with these two guys currently. Brock Lesnar and Paul Heyman make their way to the ring. Brock Lesnar in his gear. Not Brock Lesnar just dressed normal. Nope. He is in his wrestling gear. Heyman's cutting a promo. Lesnar's just like, screw this. You said enough. Oba, get out here. Which brings out Adam Pearce with
Yeah,
security.
Heyman's promo is just going on about talking about people pissing themselves when they stand in the ring with Brock, and when they're cleaning it up, they also have to clean up their dead bodies or something like that. I don't know. It was goofy. Thank God Brock ended it when he did.
But so we get Adam Pearce coming out with security, which, by the way, one of those security guards is somebody who has competed for XPO Wrestling at the Pro Wrestling Star Academy. I believe he was on a PWU show before as well. I could be wrong on that. But All Go Nelly was one of those security guards this week. So congratulations to him. I tried to
I
get
don't
a
know.
picture of it on the TV, but they didn't really show him too much. I just
Yeah,
knew it was him because it was either him or it was GKM because they have the same style of dreads.
or Malik.
No, I don't think.
No, it
No,
wouldn't have been Malik.
I'm gonna have to go back and watch that. But wow, Obafemi destroying these guards, especially the last one. He got it the worst.
Yeah, he got it the worst.
Because he has hit that concrete and he didn't go down flat. He kind of went down on his elbow.
Oh, I was gonna say I don't think Olgonelli has competed in PWU, but he did compete for the PWU championship a couple weeks ago.
Okay, yes, okay. That might be where my brain was at.
Yeah, JP made light work of him.
Yeah, and again, but this was a situation where we actually had a special appearance from Triple H trying to break them up as well.
Yeah, that was just did not see that one coming.
Trying to preserve what is probably, which, you know, I don't expect it to be a 10, 12-minute match, but if they put on a 5 to 7-minute match, it could steal the show. Like, it could, it doesn't steal the show, it's going to be remembered. And not in a bad way like Brock Lesnar and Goldberg the first time at WrestleMania 20 was, and they had to add Stone Cold to that match just to make people want to watch it.
Right. Come on, I don't have any beer. Oh, it's this awful stuff. All right, here we go.
You have no beer, that's a problem.
I mean, I do. I should probably get rid of this awful beer from the variety pack that I bought Friday. You remember the kiwi wheat?
And Brock Lesnar was not happy after all that game split up, throwing the steel steps outside the ring. You know, for there not being necessarily a lot of talking in this feud, I absolutely love where it's going. And I really I wish that they would let Brock and Oba have a main event segment to close a show and not keep doing it in the opening, because, you know, you want to put everything behind this match as a quote unquote main event. Let them close out a show in the next couple weeks, even if it's a SmackDown. You know, let it happen. Let these two get a little bit more spotlight on them, especially
really
Oba. Just for me, or just them having a fight that spills out during a main event thing and it ruins a main event, and that's what closes the show. Because you know damn well, if somebody sees them two coming to the ring, they're going to be like, well, you know, it might be time for us to take it home.
Oh, this is terrible.
But I'm really enjoying how they're doing this. It's almost like how I feel the Roman Punk feud should be going. Very little confrontation, but enough moments that show you what should be happening. Because with Oba and Brock, they're saving it for WrestleMania. Maybe we get one out brawl, the go home show.
Probably. Didn't
We've had the pop up. We've had the pop up power bomb from him. We've had him dumping about the ring, and now them being split up. And we know that they're going to have appearances again. Brock Lesnar, I think it's scheduled now all the way to WrestleMania. So yeah, I'm still. This is, in all honesty, might be the match I'm looking forward to the most at WrestleMania. In all honesty, I love that they're elevating that, especially if Oba wins. It is going to put Oba in a situation now to where everybody's going to be like, wow, he just beat one of the most dominant world champions in the last 20 years. You know, he beat a legit fighter. He's going to do something, and Oba's one of those people. And you know what? I'll say this about Trick Williams as well. Both of them, if they were on the opposite shows and hot shotted into the main event scene after WrestleMania or before, you would just look like Trick Williams has the look that he could just walk in, especially with his heel persona, and win a world championship.
Mm,
Him as a heel doing it and cheating to do it, it would play into his character and it would 100% make sense. As compared to Oba just showing up and destroying somebody.
Oba, I buy. Trick, I wouldn't buy as like, yeah.
No. I like that they're slow building Trick, but I could take Trick as a believable champion, but that's only if it's Trick beating Punk, not Trick beating Cody.
Yeah, I couldn't see
Trick,
this.
but I honestly will say, if not this time next year, in the next 2 years, we're talking about Trick maybe being a 1 or 2 time top champion, either on Raw or SmackDown. Mello, I would love to see him as world champion. I don't think he ever touches the WWE title. Just because that usually goes to the taller and the bigger guys. And Trick is just Trick is somebody who just has star tattooed on his forehead. Unlike kind of in comparison to Jade when you just look at him, but Trick has that extra charisma. Almost like The Rock. Like you just start seeing that charisma build every week more and more. And he's more comfortable in his character.
Never really noticed. I mean, I haven't really seen a lot of NXT, over the last,
I've been watching him since NXT, so seeing the build up and that charisma and how he approaches the character, like I said before, I see a lot of Booker T in him.
Yeah.
I see a lot of that inspiration. And I'm talking WCW Booker T, not WWF and WWE Booker T.
Right.
I'm talking about that young Booker T who had those passionate promos. And not just about Hulk Hogan.
Yeah, I mean...
Oh, and if Oba beats... Go ahead, sorry.
I was just going to say, I saw, a little bit of his run when he was NXT champion, or was it the TNA champion?
He held... did he hold both of them at one point? I think he held both of them at one point. But it was very... No, he didn't. He lost one and then gained the other. He lost the NXT title and won the TNA title in a very heel way from Joe Hendry on NXT.
Yeah, I was watching a lot then, and I never really got that from him. I not like I was like, why are they going with this guy as the guy? But it was, I don't know.
No, he has it. And if Jade had that charisma of cutting promos and stuff like he did, she probably would have defended the title 10 times already.
Well, yeah, but also her in-ring isn't, from what I hear, isn't quite as good as it should be.
But with her being a heel, it should be easy to highlight what's good for her and try to shy away from what's not good, unless she's just super stiff in the ring. That's a different story altogether. That got Nia fired for a while.
Yeah.
But anyway, let's move on here. We got a nice Finn Balor video package talking about Dom and everything he did, helping him and stuff, and then Dom turning on him and all that. And we get Dominic versus Finn for WrestleMania officially announced.
And we have Kofi versus Penta for the Intercontinental Championship.
This was a fun match.
It was, yeah, very fun match.
I like the moment where Kofi just yells at Grayson Waller like, "No, I told you I wanted to do this alone. Go stand over there and mind your own business." Absolutely great. But it was a good match, an open challenge style match that Kofi accepted online. So I'm cool with that. I enjoy us having a fighting champion. I kind of wish the mid card outside of the United States title at the moment, because we know whenever a true heel gets a hold of that championship, the open challenge is ending.
Right, yeah.
Because we've had a string of baby faces recently holding that title, so. And right now, Sammy's in a gray area with me. And I don't think he defends the title in the next 2.5 weeks.
If he does, he'll lose it.
Hopefully back to Mello.
Why did they do that? But I could see them doing that. Just hot-shotting it all over the place. Here, we'll give it the trick for a week.
Yeah, so Penta retains the championship. We get a post-match interview with him in the ring. And he announces that he spoke to Adam Pearce and that he will be defending the championship at WrestleMania in a ladder match.
Against multiple opponents.
Who? Any current people you could see? Because not Finn and not Dom.
They showed the graphic.
Who was
See
in the
that?
graphic?
So Rusev, I think it might have been Dragon Lee, but I'm not sure. They showed the graphic.
Well, I'm going to
sure
see
you
if
can.
I can. I'm looking
Yeah,
now to
you can
see if
pull
I
that
can
up.
find it.
Yeah, there was like six, I think 6 people in the graphic. I know Rusev was like behind Penta and to the right, but I can't picture who was in other places.
No, I don't want the preview. I want the results. WWE.com, you are useless sometimes.
Why would you go to WWE.com?
Because you think that's where everything you would need to know would be.
But they're useless.
So is their booking team, apparently.
There it is. Dragon Lee, Javon Evans, Penta, Rusev, and JD.
You know what? I'm just thinking of that right now. I hope Javon
Wait a
Evans
minute.
wins.
I'm seeing another one with Sami Zayn and Dragunov in it, and Vikingo.
I would love to see Vikingo added to that match.
Yeah, but the one I saw, the original, the one that they showed on TV was Dragon Lee, Javon, Penta, Rusev, and JD. This one, I don't know if it's fan made. Yeah, it's from Instagram 3 days ago. That's not real. So yeah, that. So as far as we know, it is get big. Okay, I can't seem to open it.
Well,
There we
that's
go.
something that we'll be able to talk more about. So it's a 5-person right now. Yeah, they're going to add one more person to that, and it's probably going to be Vikingo. They kind of hint.
Honestly, Ludwig and Dragunov and Sammy would make sense if Sammy wasn't already a champion.
Well, who knows? The way things are going in WWE lately, like we've been talking about, it's just kind of like, what the hell?
Yeah, sure. After Mania, we have Sami Zayn, who's the U.S. and Intercontinental Champion, and he's on every show.
So, yeah, we get through that. We have Paul Heyman, who is ordering a sandwich when Adam Pearce disappears. Hey, where's Brock? You know, none of your business, but Lesnar's left the arena. Okay. Have you checked your email? Heyman just laughs off. Like, who sends emails anymore? You know, we go through that whole thing a little bit later. Or not later again, but we get back from commercial. Heyman's in the ring with a mic. Boy, I guess, before Pierce, that he wouldn't have had to deal with Pierce again if he had just checked his email, huh? Because Pierce tells him, well, if you checked your email, you would have known that not only were all charges dropped by New York City with the restraining order on Seth Rollins,
Boston,
but,
Boston,
huh?
Boston Police.
No, but Adam Pierce specifically said New York City dropped the
No,
charges.
He said Boston Police dropped the charges.
I could have swore he mentioned New York City, but
No, he said Boston Police. It was in Boston.
yeah, I know it happened in Boston. That's not what I'm saying where it happened. Because even then why did Boston have the restraining order if the original attack didn't happen in Boston?
Because they arrested him.
But then the restraining order would have been in, Texas the week before?
It's where
No, when he curb
not
stomped
really
him
relevant.
happened.
A restraining order is a restraining order. It doesn't matter.
Well, no, hey, I'm just saying. But the attack didn't occur in Boston to begin with. But regardless, whatever.
But they arrested him, so he's their problem.
All right, yeah, this article does say he did say Boston Police Department. I could have swore I heard him say the New York Police Department or judges. But yeah, so, you know, they bring up that he's one of the last managers and stuff standing from like the 80s and stuff. Because there aren't a lot of people from that era around anymore.
Oh, absolutely.
But Pierce also tells him Seth Rollins has been cleared to compete. At this point, I'm like, are they really going to book Heyman versus Rollins? Like how much I want to be right about it, I don't want to be right about that.
It would have been a great setup if Braun was healthy.
But, I mean, then I started thinking about that. I'm like, ooh, is Braun coming back? Nope. Instead, we got another match we kind of speculated on 2 weeks ago. And we get Gunther, who appears, chokes out Seth, and leave him there. And then we eventually find out that at WrestleMania, it will be Seth freaking Rollins taking on the ring general Gunther. The man who takes careers like Infinity Stones.
Yeah, and while I am interested in seeing this match, it does reek of desperation. Like, you know, everybody's hurt. So we have to throw this together.
Like, I'm not going to say desperation because there was a moment a couple months ago where we do see a crossing between Heyman and Gunther. Like, hey, maybe we should work together at some point type thing. And it was never revisited, so it was just like one of those things that was just thrown on TV. Like, hey, maybe we can visit this.
They're clearly not working together because while Heyman was recovering in the ring, Gunther just looked right at him and then just walked away.
That doesn't mean anything.
Yeah, if you were working with someone, you would kind of want to pick them up if they just got like hit with a chair.
Well, it could also be Gunther be like, yeah, I'm doing this favor for you, but I'm not helping you. I'm doing this for myself to take out Seth Rollins because he's in front of me.
Yeah, I don't think it had anything to do with Heyman.
Now let's just put it, they make this very clear. You and me in 60 seconds just created more story of putting this match together than WWE did in the couple minutes they had. to make people be interested in this outside of an attack and the match being booked. To be perfectly honest. Which again, it's a match that I'm going to be interested in because of who's in it.
Of course.
But there's definitely, it was neither guy has a match. Both their opponents are injured, so we're putting them together at this point.
Both their opponents and the backups are injured.
Serious. Now, I'm going to say this. You know, I look at Gunther, and Gunther's somebody you could picture coming out and interrupting WrestleMania like, I'm not on this card. I'm in my ring gear right now. I challenge anybody who is here to a match. And I would have loved to see him and Dragunov at WrestleMania because they've never had a bad match against each other.
Oh, come on, John Cena. He's going to be there.
Well, we hadn't gotten that. Did we talk about him hosting WrestleMania? And that he
No.
could. Yeah, because that's about kind of where I'm getting to, where we're getting to. We were kind of working there. But yeah, so we can skip that in about a couple minutes. John Cena announced as the host of WrestleMania. Now we want to talk about something that reeks of desperation to sell tickets because their ticket sales still. You know, and this brings me back to my point. John Cena was going to be at WrestleMania this year. They could have retired him at WrestleMania, and Gunther would have had an opponent.
Like, you did hear him say in interviews that, like, his body's done. It was his decision to retire when he did.
No. I understand that, but he still could have taken the time off and just let WrestleMania be the last seeing of John Cena. Now, coming again from the person that the majority of that man's career, I was not a fan of his character at all. Whether it was the rapping character as a heel, where he was a bit more interesting at that point, or we're talking about the ultimate babyface that in my eyes surpasses Hulk Hogan as the ultimate babyface of that Hogan of the 80s and the early 90s.
Yeah,
You know.
I was just glad to see him finally going, like, for good, you know? And now he's got to come back and host.
And now this brings me to an even bigger thing. If this was, which is why it reeks of desperation, there was no plans for John Cena at WrestleMania. Because if there was, because in all honesty, if there was, that I stand by the whole thing. That's where you have his last match. This is a last minute gasp to get the ticket sales in. Because in the end, he's not needed.
You're saying this company should have forced this guy who said, no, that's it, I'm done. They should have been like, no,
All right,
you're wrestling at Mania.
You do the whole thing for the tournament in December, and you build up. Why does John Cena have to wrestle again at any other point in the Royal Rumble, in the Elimination Chamber, and at any other show before WrestleMania and just appear and build this match? And maybe have a physical moment in the ring here or there
Because
to
he
help
wanted
build
to be
that.
done.
Or no,
He wanted to be done.
again, I get it. I 100% get it. But I'm not saying he has to wrestle every week leading up to WrestleMania. Yes, your body's breaking. You're telling me. Now, this is also how I look at how many years did we have a one Undertaker match a year? And we all looked forward to sitting there and be like, all right, the streak's on the line this year. Hey, the streak's over. Brock Lesnar ended it. But we know the Undertaker. If it's one show he's showing up for every year with his body breaking down, it's WrestleMania because he's going to be off the next 11 months. I'm just saying John Cena, but I understand.
And like shouldn't have happened. Like that was
But
just
it
gimmick,
sold,
you know.
but
Like,
it sold tickets, and people wanted to see it, and Undertaker wanted to
I
do it.
wouldn't buy those tickets.
I would. I'm just happy I got to see an Undertaker match while the streak was alive. And it was a Hell in a Cell match. I'm happy with that. I'm not happy with who the opponent was in said match, but I'm happy with the fact that I still got to see it and experience it for myself before the streak was acknowledged. Like only fans acknowledged it around that point when you start realizing like, wow, going back and looking and watching them, you're like, he won this one. He's really never lost at a WrestleMania. Because I want to say it wasn't until Edge that they really fully acknowledged it, and you started having people chasing the streak. You know, because a match with Undertaker at WrestleMania was the equivalent of being in the main event. Because if you're having a match with the Undertaker, there's a 90% chance you're a made man going forward. And, you know, there are exceptions within that.
Giant Gonzalez.
One of them, yes. But, you know, it just comes to the idea of that Gunther retires John Cena at WrestleMania is a bigger deal to me than him retiring on Saturday night's main event. But I understand, because I understand John Cena's mindset in the situation that if I'm going to be here, I'm here. I am doing this. I am putting all my time into it. So I completely understand. Just me as a fan and watching his career, Saturday night's main event wasn't worthy. They built the show around him. They did make it feel special. And it was a very special moment. It's just, me personally, the guy who's won more world titles in WWE than anybody else for his era and his generation deserved to. He got the right to call his shot of how he wanted to go out. I just will always feel like he deserved to go out on the grandest stage of them all. The same show that Ric Flair went out on one of the times.
This poor man. He just wanted to be done.
Like, and again, it's me speaking.
See how he smiled before he tapped?
Dude, again, I love how it was. I have no argument with how it was done. It's just when you look at Legacy, you know, you kind of expect it to be put into a bigger spotlight than what it was. And for me, it'll always be a disappointing moment that it was on a Saturday night's main event to make that event feel special more than what the moment was going to be special. And again, they did make it feel special. It was a great show. It was a great match. He went out the way he wanted. Completely respect that. Just me personally, as a lifelong fan of professional wrestling, and for what he did, I will always stand on that hill. That's where he should have gone out. But anyway, there are other things to talk about besides some retired white boy rapper who's in Hollywood now. But again, I do respect John Cena for everything he's done. He's granted more Make-A-Wishes than anybody else in the history of the organization, which it cannot be easy going and visiting all those kids. You know, I've heard other wrestlers and people talk about doing that and how they can't do it all the time just because it is sad.
Oh, of course, yeah.
You know what I mean? So
maybe he's just a sociopath.
But yeah, let's talk about Io Sky versus Raquel Rodriguez.
All right. This was actually a really good match.
Yeah, this was a lot of fun too.
And a very unexpected outcome.
Yeah. Io loses thanks to the Kabuki Warriors coming out. So I'm assuming somehow there's going to be a custody of Kyrie match or something. It can't be a ladder match, so can we have like her contract on a pole match?
Kyrie in a shark cage match.
Okay. I like the shark cage gimmick. I always have. I've also heard rumors that, well, no. I think the original I saw something for WrestleMania. I forget what match it was. It might have been the original plan for Fatu and McIntyre, but it could be for another match as well. That they could be planning a Hell in a Cell match for WrestleMania.
Okay.
Without the pay-per-view. Yeah, neither would I, because without the Hell in a Cell pay-per-view no more, now the match will mean something again anytime we get it, and it's not just
Yeah,
a yearly thing. That
as
should be
long
a
as
feud ender.
it doesn't end in disqualification.
I don't like to talk about that.
Bye-bye, bitch.
Yowie wowie.
Yowie wowie.
I was already going to press it, and I pressed it, and you got it out right before it actually kicked on and started. So then, they did it. They showed the graphic later after the Penta thing. I must have been looking away, getting stuff together, because then they announced the challengers for the ladder match, as well as Finn Balor and Dom. Oh, and a four-way women's tag team title match, apparently. So,
Oh, they did announce that.
yes. So, there we are. And then after all that, we get Adam Pearce coming out the trainer's room being interviewed. And he announces that Seth is pissed off at Gunther versus Seth at WrestleMania. And then we are to the final segment of the evening. Wow, I didn't realize who the agent. Do you realize who the agent was that got speared?
No.
Petey Williams.
Oh, no way. Oh yeah, I like it. I haven't seen him in so long, and he's like bald now, right? So I wouldn't recognize him. Like, yeah.
Yeah. But anyway, Roman Reigns comes out.
Acknowledge me.
BJ's already heard that enough tonight as we were watching the end of Raw together.
And only once left.
Dummy. Yeah.
But yeah, Roman comes out. He kind of goes through his whole acknowledge me spiel. And before he could really say anything else, CM Punk comes out. Jeans, t-shirt, hand taped up, and these guys just start trading punches. You know, I'm kind of on the side of I wish they hadn't gone full out battle yet. And it was still kind of the talking, which is also why I feel like you could open the show with them too and let Brock and Oba have a closing. Because I'm looking at you've already given us the physicality in the preview. If in 2 weeks Brock Lesnar just comes out and hijacks the end of Raw, like I'm calling out Oba Femi right now, and you do it like that, you know, because if we see like say Roman start off the show, we're like, okay, what are they planning for the end? And I would even go as far as to have a main event match, bring the graphic up, and then Brock's music hits after everybody starts leaving the ring, and he just comes through the crowd like, I want Oba Femi right now. I'm not waiting. You do it on the go home Raw. I don't want to wait until Saturday or Sunday. I want Oba right now, and we just get a brawl with them going, and the show goes off the air with them brawling.
Yeah, I mean, that actually seems pretty likely. Like, if they're willing to put them in the go home segment.
I mean, maybe next week they do it so that the actual go home, you do have room. But, you know, I really feel like those two deserve that spot. And it's a shame they're not getting it at least once in the last 2 weeks. Because this is what, the third week now?
It's been middle of the show every time.
It's always been like the 9 o'clock hour they've had their segment.
Yeah. Which I understand, Brock, you know, he's a busy guy. He wants to get home early, so if he doesn't have to be there, you know.
But yeah, boy. And then this was the segment where Pierce came out with security and... Oh, no, I'm sorry. That was the Oba segment. There was no security for this segment.
No security.
Because Oba Femi killed all the security guards.
Just Jason Jordan and Petey Williams and who else?
a
Oh,
bunch of
the Noble,
referees,
Jamie Noble, is that his name?
uh, Gregory Helms.
Right. All the suits,
Yep.
the Stooges.
Roman gets put through the announce table this week. Retribution for last week.
Yeah.
So we've had what is the bloodline kind of taking the L's this week.
Yeah, the Usos losing the belts and Roman just getting just pummeled.
And and I hate to keep going back to it, but I don't feel like this needs the full all out brawl thing that I want to see with the Oba Brock. But knowing that we're going to be lucky to get 10 minutes out of Brock at WrestleMania, I kind of get it.
I think we need to see Brock get the better of Oba in a brawl and
Yeah,
kind of even up the stakes because it's been too Oba heavy so far.
and I think the go home would be the perfect, especially if it's the go home like one of those next week, and then Brock doesn't appear the following week, and you have
Right.
Oba come out and just do his thing and have a match before WrestleMania. But yeah, I definitely do want to see Oba on the opposite end, so there's some adversity for the ruler
Because he's
because
looked like untouchable so far.
I mean, he's looked basically untouchable his entire career in WWE so far, so it's not surprising. It's just surprising it's Brock Lesnar.
Yeah.
At least we're not dealing with a Goldberg situation here. Which, let's be honest, how shocking would it be that we get this match at WrestleMania and it goes under a minute with Oba winning?
I'm sorry, what was that last part?
Oba over Brock Lesnar in less than a minute at WrestleMania. And the ruler just destroys the beast. It would be a shock. That's again, I don't think losing in any way, shape, or form. It would be that Brock slept on him. You're a professional fighter and you slept on the young kid and got dominated.
Right.
And you put Brock Lesnar on a tear of destruction now, trying to get back to Oba. Because in the next time we see them, because we both kind of have agreed in the past that if Oba does win, it does put him in a world title picture down the
Absolutely,
line.
yeah.
So at some point we could see maybe for the world heavyweight title in a rematch, where now we get an actual full blown match. Compared to like now Brock's done his tape study. Now he's just like, see, kid, I slept on you before. And you know what? I respect you for what you did to me. But now I just destroyed this whole roster to get back to you. Oba Femi Brock Lesnar one more time.
Yeah, when do you do that?
God. Honestly, SummerSlam. Gunther doesn't retire Brock. Oba retires Brock.
Yeah, I don't like it. But, I mean, there's certain aspects of it that I do like.
It would be how they got there. Because I'm just looking at the bullet point idea and there's no story really to it. So we would have to see, because we kind of can see how the Oba side would play out. We would have to see how the Brock side plays out. Who does he go through on this tear? Does he go somebody like, because there's another match I would love to see, Dragunov and Brock. I would love to see that match because they both can work stiff. And after Brock no selling him in the Rumble,
Brock's got to have 100 pounds on Dragunov.
Dragunov has been shown to be tough. I mean, he's the man who dethroned Gunther's longest UK NXT title reign. He's one of the few people in Gunther's entire career that's beaten him.
Yeah,
So just right there. So for me knowing that there, it's like, all right, you're one of the few people to do something.
Look,
That means something.
Fat Gunther and Brock Lesnar looking like he did tonight are two different stories completely. Dragunov's a little dude. He's like, what, maybe 6'1", maybe 230.
Yeah, and he can hang with those guys.
Oh no, he could hang with those guys, but it wouldn't be believable to put him in a match with Lesnar.
Right, okay. We've gotten John Moxley, well, Dean Ambrose at the time versus Brock Lesnar.
Also, I don't think
So if
Brock
we're
would
going to
do it.
talk about size, how tall's Mox? 5'8", 5'9", maybe
Well,
6 foot.
that's debated. That's debated, but I hear it's about 5'9".
That's what I'm saying. Like we had Randy Orton versus Brock Lesnar.
But
Like
but Mox is like a big, like meaty dude. Like
yeah,
Dragunov
but
is
how?
cut and everything, but he's
No,
like he weighs
but I'm
nothing.
saying, but here's what I'm saying. How many people are Brock Lesnar and Obafemi size? Not many. Like Fat Gunther, Walter. What
Yeah, yeah, that's his
would
name.
Walter would be in that conversation, but then he became Gunther and just became muscle
Yeah,
and thinned out.
lost all the fat.
Yeah, which again, no problem because he's still threatening. And you put him in, you know, maybe we need to see him and Dragunov kind of standing across each other again because I think they could put on a great show.
Oh
But
yeah,
but anyway, let's get back on topic here
there's
because we're doing.
I could see them doing that in the future, like somewhere down the road.
Yeah, I just see that if you're going to do one, that Dragunov, who being as tough as he is, would be a logical person for Brock to tear through. Like how much it would suck seeing him being fed to the machine. Just him doing damage to Brock and then Brock snapping and putting him down would be enough. Because this is a case where somebody can go over in a loss.
Oh my God, I was way off. Dragunov is build 5'10", or yeah, 5'10", 210. So he would be tiny standing next to
But
Brock.
and that's fine. I've watched all of Rey Mysterio's career, and he's tiny up against everybody unless it's another luchador. So,
Yeah, I get that, but that's Rey Mysterio.
but that's also the beauty of pro wrestling, being that size is only one aspect of it. And Dragunov, they've really built as one of the tougher people on the roster who can
Oh,
go
right.
into those matches and still put up a fight.
Oh, I
And
saw a
that's
lot of his
what.
NXT run, and oh my God, like guy was unstoppable.
Now, am I saying that there's? I'm not saying that there's not better people, but he is an option to have there if you want people to get invested in him, especially if it's an almost win against Brock and Brock just does Brock things and goes to Suplex City and then just takes the match. But Dragunov has a good first half in that match. You're like, all right, he's still young. But he took it to Brock Lesnar, and you have that moment where Brock Lesnar just smiles, like holding his jaw or something. Like, I respect you, kid. You hit hard. Just like best example, Monday Night Raw 2003, 2004, undisputed WWE Championship match in a ladder match, The Undertaker and Jeff Hardy. That moment after the match where Jeff Hardy wouldn't stay down and Undertaker just gets in the ring and shakes his hand. That moment really catapulted Jeff Hardy into that main event level, having the Undertaker's respect. And getting to see that toughness against because Undertaker just destroyed him that entire match and he wouldn't stay down.
Oh, hey, look at that! It's the last day of Mustache March.
You have to do a lot to get him down. Yep, you're almost there. But
Almost
anyway, CM Punk ends up putting Roman Reigns through the table. Punk does his thing. We get Raw going off the air. What were your thoughts of the final segment, which, in honesty, wasn't even one of the top segments of the night?
No, 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 no. That Brock and Oba segment was fantastic. Yeah, pretty good Raw, but like it's the build up to WrestleMania. I expect more, even though like there's some segments really delivered. Just some of the matches I wasn't feeling, but otherwise, decent show, not the worst, not as bad as they were putting on like 4 or 5 months ago. Um, you know, they 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 did their job of setting up the feuds and announcing the new ones, like new Mania matches.
It just really does, like we say, feel like there's been so much course correction, and that somehow the titles have played into that when none of the titles should have played into it.
Yeah, or maybe one here,
The
maybe
only
one, but
title,
like,
hypothetically, the only title that could have played into it would have been the CM Punk's world title. And we could have gotten the ultimate thing of a random changing of the guard in that aspect to get to Seth Braun for the world title instead of Punk Roman for the world title. But Braun Breaker had already been injured going into the Rumble. And then they did the
right,
whole crash out thing, which, work or not, aggravated said injury to a point where he had to crash out, and we're using the announce table as the excuse. Way to be, Raw announce table. You're really dangerous. You're becoming the NXT parking lot. But it is what it is. But if I were to not be watching and I was to look at this card on paper right now, I would watch. As just I'm the fan who watches WrestleMania. Maybe I watch here and there, but WrestleMania I always watch because I just know I'm going to see some good matches. And the way WrestleMania is presented is different than any other show, maybe besides SummerSlam.
right. Yeah, like if I wasn't completely invested in this like I am and looked at the card, I would definitely immediately pick out my bathroom breaks and sandwich breaks. But like I'd be all about Finn versus Dom, the ladder match, Seth and Gunther. There's a lot of matches that definitely interest me, but it's
And
kind
you
of
would think, but there are some you would think that would have story build up. As an example, if you're looking next week, you see Seth Gunther graphic, you're like, wow, what are they doing with them? And then you realize, like, wait a minute, they just booked this last week. Well, okay. You know, Penta defending the title in a multi-man match. This is the multi-man match we've been waiting for to be announced.
yeah, like I'm
And
fine with that.
I think both nights will have some type of match like this.
Yeah,
I just
yeah,
don't
I
know
don't know.
where
Like
we.
on paper, I'm more interested in the card than I am watching the build up.
And again, that's because it really does have that feel of, wow, they really didn't know what what they wanted to do, and now they realize we've run out of time.
It's like a WWE 2K, like you simulate up to the pay-per-view, and this is the card you have.
But even then, I at least pick most of my winners, unless it's a
No,
feud.
I'm
Like
saying just like straight out, just simulate from start to like 3 pay-per-views later. Like this is the card you would end up with.
somehow. But then you also have that random thing at WrestleMania that Dragon Lee won the Royal Rumble and is now taking on like Ministry Undertaker in the main event for the WWE Championship. And you're like, how the hell did we get here? But Andre the Giant is stuck in a multi-man non-title match. You
I
just get that weird, you just get that.
Yeah, you were frozen for a really long time there.
I realized
Oh,
it. I just don't see where, because usually by now we could even have the conversation of, okay, I can see where a couple things are going to go after WrestleMania. And if it's one thing, I'm going to be perfectly honest. I see a rematch between Randy So I think Randy Orton will win the title right now where I'm at. Randy beats Cody at WrestleMania. Gets number 15. That's what he's
That
pursuing.
sounds right. Yeah.
15. Right? So we get that rematch. And I think we see next in line after that, Jacob going after the title.
I really hope so. Do you think if it wasn't for that that time that he was out because of the dental stuff, do you think that he would have been where we thought he would be?
I even with that, I still thought he would be there. So I hope that kind of answers your question.
Not really, but
All right. Well, all right.
we
So
thought
even
he was more ready than WWE did, is what it comes down to.
you know what? So I'm also on like the idea of, and we talked about this Sunday that, and the Sunday before, that no matter what, he was going to be in that trajectory until injuries altered the card. Because let's be honest, I still stand by this. Drew McIntyre screwed him out of the Royal Rumble too. Screwed him out of the Elimination Chamber as well. You know,
Yeah.
so he had just as much of an opportunity to face Drew as Cody did. But Cody got the preferential treatment. He got inserted into something. So why wasn't it a triple threat match on SmackDown?
Yeah.
You know, and then Drew doesn't even have to take the pinfall. Jacob takes the pinfall, and we work toward storylines of something a seed plan to happen after WrestleMania. To where we get this Cody Fatu feud to get back to Drew. Jacob goes over. Now, my question becomes, because of the show split right now, both of us are kind of in agreement that sometime in the near future, Oba's going to hold major gold. And I'm not just talking the Intercontinental or United States title. I'm talking a world championship. King of the Ring finals this year if they do it. Oba Femi and Jacob Fatu. I don't know if I could pick the winner of that. And I can't pick no contest. I can't go to my bread and butter there.
You could pick a DQ.
There has to be I could, but then there's still a winner. You're still picking the outright winner of it.
Yeah.
You're just picking that as the result.
But it's still a cheap pick. Like
Yeah, but it doesn't fit me as picking my no contest. All right, I have my gimmick. Let me be.
All right, so you only go no contest. You don't go DQ.
No, unless I feel like it makes sense storyline wise, because I think I've done it before. But just, I think I did for one of the PWU shows. I think January I did.
Mm-hmm. Be right back.
But it's definitely something that is in consideration. And if that's the case, I could see Jacob. I could see either of those guys winning. Or the worst thing is that we somehow get a double count out or a double pinfall and they both win King of the Ring and they both get shots at their respective championships. But I definitely would side with, by the end of the year, that Jacob Fatu could be WWE champion. Or if somehow it switches, I could see Oba Femi being WWE champion.
Yeah, one or the other definitely by the end of the year. But you got to remember though, like the top is very packed at the moment. Roman's a part timer. You know what I mean? Like, so even if he does win the title, I mean, you're not gonna see a lot of them, but he'll hold that spot.
I agree, it's packed. But we're kind of getting to a point now where we can start thinking about the stars of the future and really start building them to get to these moments. And if they don't win it in their first shot, nobody's going to hold it against them. Especially if it's, as an example, we'll say Oba gets his title shot and it's against a world champion Roman Reigns at SummerSlam. And the bloodline's gotten back together. You know what we're all going to do? We're all going to be like, Oba got screwed. We still believe Oba can be a world champion. You know, or in the case that it's Jacob Fatu, what are we going to say? We're going to say the exact same thing. Oh, it was against Roman. His cousins and all that banded against him because they knew how dangerous he was. So there's definitely something there either way. Would I want to see Oba's possible first loss come like that? No. But God, would it fit? And would it be a way? It would be a way just to not have to deal with a streak going on for an entire year, because you get to a point. They got to that point with Asuka. WCW had to deal with it with Goldberg. How do we do this? And it makes sense. Asuka unfortunately lost to Charlotte. They had to do a screw job finish on Goldberg. And a taser just for it to actually kind of make sense. And then they booked Goldberg. Whatever, same difference. But in the end, WCW's mistake was after that they poorly booked him and they made him look weak continuously after that. And then him punching a real limo window didn't help any neither.
Man, he's injured himself more than anyone has injured him.
And he's injured even more people. That must be who. That must be why. I wonder if Jay Cargill ever went to a Bill Goldberg seminar.
Oh my God. Yeah.
Doesn't work for me, bro.
Definitely looking forward to Mania, although I'm not as hype as I could be, but they still have another 2 weeks to get me there.
You know, I have my natural hype for Mania. You know, it's a time of year, and especially with us doing this channel now, I look forward to us doing our live streams for WrestleMania week and all that. I am absolutely looking forward to everything we're going to be doing that week. We have a Midnight Express preview show that week that we get to do the night, literally hours before they're going out there. We're going to be previewing that entire card. You know, and then God forbid I'm somehow able to stay up and watch it live. If not, I will be at work that next morning watching it, getting ready to come home and just want to go live talking about it that night.
Yeah.
Which is something we still have to plan when we're going to do that review show, but I would love to make that something special outside of our normal Tuesday show.
Oh, definitely, yeah. It's a big event.
And not wait a whole... Yeah. But this Raw of what I fully got to sit down and watch, I am going for Sunday, go back and rewatch a couple things that I wasn't able to fully pay attention to.
Right.
Which is pretty much the women's tag team match and the opening promo with Cody and Stephanie McMahon. But I'm happy with what we saw. I just wish that every week it wasn't so cookie cutter. We're still at that thing to where it's like, it literally seemed like like we watched last week's Raw all over again. Brock Lesnar, Oba in the same spot. The opening thing was all opening promo. Every week. We got CM Punk and Roman Reigns. Like, I miss the days of where we got like some type of tag. We didn't get the one-on-one match, but we get these multi-man matches with these main event guys, or all these guys that have WrestleMania matches. We take the faces and the heels and we throw them together in some type of tag team match or six-man tag.
Oh,
you know, so but at least in the lead up, we get a little bit of tease. But just getting this as constant promos because of the fact that you've already been doing this for a year. Like, you have not changed course at all over the past year. Hell, it's to the point where even the common fans are in the crowd chanting at the right time for the right person to come out. Even if they have not been announced to be there. So, fans are catching on to how you do the show. Fine. You made it simple for the fans to follow. But, if it's one thing I will give AEW all the credit for, they can catch me, they can keep me on my toes. WWE kind of has trouble doing that. Like, I'm watching the show, I'm enjoying the show, I'm not doing much else while I'm watching the show for like the past 4 or 5 weeks. Barring tonight because I had other things I had to do. But it's kind of like a decade ago, or pre-AEW even. You could turn away and just know you don't have to be paying attention to every single thing going on. And when it comes down to it, your show gets that predictable, you're having a problem, and it's not just booking your biggest show of the year. It's keeping fans' interest, and it's not just us saying that. It's not just Sports Illustrated saying that. It's not just the IWC saying that. Like, it's a lot of fans saying that. Like, hey, I'm enjoying the show, but can we get a bit more? Can we get this mix? I would love for Raw to go and we just get an opening match. Like, let's get an opening match. And it could be a guy who cuts the pro. It could be a squash match. Just give me something different. NXT does it and it works just fine. So why doesn't the main roster do it? No, we've got SmackDowns that start off with backstage brawls or something. Like, my argument's coming down to it's mostly Monday Night Raw now. SmackDown usually follows the same formula, just in a different way. Because we'll get some type of crazy opening segment of something that happened before the show or during the opening, and then we get the promo. Not just video packages going over the last week, and then right into the opening promo of somebody coming out like, oh yeah, this guy pissed me off last week at this exact same time in a different city. So I'm out here again to get pissed off again. But this week, at least it was nice. We did have the surprise with Stephanie McMahon because nobody could say they really saw that coming.
No.
Which, by the way, something we didn't talk about the past couple weeks because we haven't really had time. The Hall of Fame. Congratulations, Bad News Brown, for the legacy part of the Hall of Fame. Psycho Sid going into the Hall of Fame. Demolition also, who should have been in the Hall of Fame a long time ago.
Oh, God, yeah.
I just wish kind of Crush was going in with him because he was a part of the original Demolition. But he wasn't part of the tag team title reign. But he was
He came around like after all of their success.
What was it after? I thought it was he was a part of it before. All right. I mean, we're talking a long time ago.
I'm pretty sure they were off TV for a few months and then they came back with them. Like after they lost their belts. I could be wrong about that though. But no, they did have belts with him because they did the old switcheroo, I remember. I'll have to revisit that.
No, but it's just something to where even Crush alone could go into like the legacy part. But if you were going to try to get him into that part of the Hall of Fame, that would be the way to do it. Because I don't think anybody else would really buy into Crush legitimately being just inducted into the Hall of Fame and not in like the legacy way.
No, maybe Hawaiian Crush.
Because Crush I loved one of my favorite incarnations of Crush, just real quick, was the Disciples of Apocalypse.
Oh yeah. Yeah.
That when WWF did the full blown like faction warfare thing.
Yeah.
I missed that. I remember being a kid, I really didn't like it, but now I went back and watched all that. I'm like, wow, a lot of this was good and went under the radar. Of how you could just throw any combination of the Nation at that time, the Hart Foundation, DOA or Los Boricuas, and you could get a banger of a match out of any of them at any given time. And then you could just slide the headbangers in there against them somehow, and it still made sense. Yeah, I was a huge mark for the Headbangers. Always will be. But yes, on that note, we'll be back next week for another one of these. And then the week after that, we'll be live, doing a live watch along.
But you're not gonna miss. But you're not gonna want to miss tomorrow's show. It's gonna be a good one. I finished my script. We have an amazing guest. It's gonna be a great show. Yeah.
Yeah, it's going to be a fun show tomorrow. And Lucas Twitch DeSangro will be on to start the show, which will be great. He is somebody who has expressed interest plenty of times on coming on. And as always, figuring out schedules and stuff like that.
Yeah.
But then we
Well,
also
can
will
finally get him.
have... Yeah, we'll also have SPO live to talk about from this past weekend. We will have Mawa to talk about that you and Pete went to. We'll be talking about the brawl at Glenside for the PWSA show, which was a very fun show, which we kind of talked about yesterday when we had Controlled Chaos on. And just real quick, I'll play the clip I have from it.
And if you guys didn't see our interview with them yesterday, it was such an amazing show. Definitely worth checking out. Those guys are class act, and they have such a great story.
Yeah, hopefully we can have them on again sometime in the future as well. But yeah, we will see. Otherwise, until then, I am the Danger Ginger. That's BJ Talks Wrestling, and sometimes drinks beer as well. And we'll see you tomorrow evening. He's BJ drinks beer, and he's all out of beer.
Sorry, Rick.
But yeah, everybody, be good to each other, and have a good night.
Peace.
What's good, fans? This is El Tirador, Alex Rivera, also known as the Latin Shooter, and you're watching BJ and DG Talk Wrestling. Check it out. Vaya!